The fourth guest. The second course. Harmony of elements. A subtle gust of air preceded the server's return. This time they carried wide, shallow bowls, each carefully covered with a translucent glass lid. My server placed hers in front of me and, with a gentle flourish, lifted the lid. A fragrant steam unfurled, carrying aromas of ginger, lemongrass, and something faintly nutty, like toasted sesame. The dish and its sensory surroundings. Inside the bowl was a delicate broth. It glistened with flecks of gold, edible gold leaf perhaps, and floating atop were small dumplings, each tinted a different color. One was a pale green, another a soft orange, a third nearly white. Embedded in the broth were slender slices of root vegetables. A swirl of color from carrots, taro, and sweet potato made it look like a miniature rainbow swirl suspended in liquid. The music shifted to a gentle percussive sound, wooden blocks tapping in a steady rhythm reminiscent of dripping water. Over this minimalistic percussion, a haunting wind instrument began to play, a cross between a shakuhachi, Japanese bamboo flute, and something else, an instrument I couldn't recognize. The effect was mesmerizing. On the walls, the digital art had transformed once again. Gone were the blossoms or raindrops. Instead, we saw gentle waves of color that ebbed and flowed like water in a calm ocean, drifting in time with the tapping beat. I found myself feeling the synergy of the warm broth before even tasting it. Each sense was prepared, my eyes by the hypnotic visuals, my ears by the rhythmic pulse, my nose by the fragrant steam, and my taste buds by the anticipation. All four of us leaned in, inhaling the aromatic steam. I noticed my chopsticks had been replaced by a small, hand-carved spoon, each diner's spoon shaped from a different type of wood. Mine was a deep mahogany color, polished to a mirror-like sheen. Kenji's was a lighter cedar, Lan's a warm oak, and AJ's a pale bamboo. I dipped my spoon into the broth and tasted. The flavors were unbelievably well balanced: bright, citrusy lemongrass, warming ginger, a hint of miso perhaps in the background to deepen the savory note. The dumplings each had a unique filling, one with sweet pumpkin and tofu, another with finely chopped shiitake mushrooms, and the third with a creamy edamame blend. It was as if each dumpling corresponded to a different elemental taste. Deeper connections emerge. We ate in reverent silence, each of us caught in the swirl of flavors and the surreal environment. Finally, Lan spoke first, voice soft as a whisper. "This reminds me of a soup my grandmother used to make," she said, eyes shining with nostalgia. "It's not exactly the same, but the harmony of lemongrass and ginger takes me back." AJ nodded. "In India we have rasam, a spice soup, which can sometimes carry notes of tamarind and pepper. There's a comforting warmth in such broths. It's not the same flavor profile, but there's a kindred simplicity in how this dish feels nurturing." Kenji sipped his broth and closed his eyes for a moment. "It tastes like a new interpretation of Shojin Ryori, Zen temple cuisine. I've had vegetarian broths in temple stays, but never this refined or theatrical." I smiled, letting the warmth of the broth fill me. "In Italy, we have minestrone or simple vegetable broths, but again, not like this. This is beyond cultural boundaries somehow." As we continued, the conversation took an unexpected turn toward the spiritual. AJ set his spoon down gently. "I can't help but feel that each of us was meant to be here at this moment. Since we're strangers, maybe we could share something about ourselves beyond just names. Perhaps there's a reason we crossed paths." Lan nodded slowly. "You know, before coming here, I prayed at a temple for guidance. I've been traveling alone, uncertain of my next steps in life. Maybe we can share a bit about what brought us to Kyoto, or what we seek." Kenji looked thoughtful. "I'm a teacher," he said. "I work in a language school here, but I took a sabbatical recently. Something in my life felt off. I've been wandering these streets, searching for what's missing." A small, self-conscious smile flickered on his face. I never expected an answer might come in the form of a mysterious dinner. Ajay chuckled. You never know where the answers will appear. He paused. As I mentioned, I was studying yoga in Rishikesh. I've come to Japan to learn about Zen practice, to deepen my meditation. I'm only a week into my journey. My plan was to travel to certain temples, maybe find a master. But now I'm here. Lan sighed. I'm in the midst of a personal pilgrimage. My grandparents were devout Buddhists in Vietnam, and I suppose I'm trying to rediscover that heritage, or at least to find my own meaning. I've been wandering Asia, visiting temples, volunteering at some rural communities, just trying to do something good and learn about myself in the process. They all looked to me, the only one who hadn't really shared. I set my spoon down carefully. Well, I began, I'm not on a spiritual mission per se. At least, I didn't think so. I'm a photographer by hobby, and I've been traveling for a few months now, just capturing images for my portfolio. Yet, ironically, I've felt a bit lost too, like something has been missing in my life. I was hoping Japan would inspire me, and so far, it has. AJ nodded in empathy. It seems all of us are searching in some way. Kenji added, yes, perhaps that's the common thread that drew us here. The interplay of light and sound. We fell into a soft silence. The percussive music evolved again, adding a gentle harp-like string that plucked softly, reminiscent of droplets of rain in a still pond. The lights on the walls and ceiling swirled with watery illusions, shimmering as though we were inside a softly lit aquarium of cosmic design. As we neared the end of this second course, finishing the last sips of the broth, something unexpected happened. A faint humming vibration. It began subtly, almost imperceptible, but soon we all felt it in our chests. It wasn't loud, rather, it was like a gentle resonance that matched our heartbeats. Our four servers appeared in unison, collecting the empty bowls. When my server leaned in, I dared to ask in a low voice, what is that vibration we feel? She gave me a calm, enigmatic smile. Your hearts are aligning, she said, and then walked away before I could question further. I looked at the others. Did you hear that? I whispered. They nodded, each wearing an expression of mild astonishment. Kenji cleared his throat. Your hearts are aligning. That's unusual. Lan's eyes were wide. Is it metaphorical or literal? I mean, I do feel a calm sense of connection in this room, almost as if we've all known each other longer than half an hour. AJ murmured, in yoga, there are practices aimed at syncing one's heartbeat or breathing rhythm with others in a group, fostering a sense of unity. But I've never experienced it quite like this, spontaneously during a meal. I pressed a hand to my chest, noticing my heart's steady thump. I couldn't deny that there was a sense of shared rhythm in the air, like we were being gently nudged towards some collective harmony. The ephemeral sensation soon faded, but its impression remained in our hearts. Once again, the servers left us, and we waited, caught between curiosity and wonder for whatever might come next. Moments of levity. A hush settled again, and I could feel a mild tension from the profundity of it all. Perhaps sensing this, AJ grinned, trying to lighten the mood. You know, if I go home to my family and say, I ate soup that aligned my heartbeat with 3 strangers in Kyoto tonight, they might think I've gone crazy. Lan giggled. Try explaining that to my mother. She'd say, you've been traveling too long. Come back and get married already. Kenji's face broke into a rare smile. My father would likely pat me on the back and say, that's nice, son, but did you get a job yet? I let out a soft laugh. And my Italian grandfather would probably shrug and say, sure, but is the soup better than your nonna's minestrone? We all laughed, and for a moment the strangeness became comedic. It was a gentle reminder of our shared humanity, bridging the cultural differences. Even in extraordinary circumstances, the universal comedic thread of explaining the inexplicable to one's family rung true. Thus ended the second course, in a softer, friendlier wave of conversation. Each of us felt closer, bound by not just the unusual environment, but by the simple fact that we could laugh together.